In this Kali Yuga, we see criminals and the corrupt getting away scot-free without having to pay for their acts of crime. Seems so unfair. And here we are, honest people plodding away at a difficult life. Only through the law of karma we understand that if criminals have still not been arrested, it is because of their punya. A criminal may escape the law of the land, but cannot escape the law of karma presided over by Bhagavan. Any person who goes against dharma will suffer the consequences while living and may actually go to Naraka. Naraka is the Vedic equivalent of hell, with the difference that Naraka is a place you go to and return, unlike the concept of hell in Christianity. There is no concept of eternal damnation here because people who incur papa would go to Naraka, a place of pain after death, for a period of time until their papa is exhausted. Yamaraja is a lord of death. In the Puranas, there are references to 3 periods when there was no Yama. One such period was in Satya Yuga. At that time, there was no death on earth, which became overcrowded with living beings. Unable to bear their weight, the earth sank down to a depth of 100 yojanas. 1 yojana is about 12 to 15 kilometers. Bhudevi, the goddess in the form of earth, offered tearful prayers to Mahavishnu, who incarnated as Varaha and lifted up the earth 100 yojanas. We learn this from the Mahabharata, Vanaparva, chapter 142. So then, what is Yamaraja's role? When the lifespan of each living being allotted by Brahmaji is at an end, Yama sends his agents and takes the jiva to Yamapuri, the city of Yama. From there, the jivas are sent to Swarga if they have a lot of punya in the account, or the papis, the sinners, are sent to Naraka. The Bhagavata Purana states that Swarga is the realm for the one who is able to discriminate between what is right and wrong, loves other people, and engages in good deeds or dharma for them. People who are good, virtuous, and devoted are able to achieve this abode. It is a realm of gratification where one is able to appreciate divine music, divine beauty, and divine objects. There is no aging nor disease, and one enjoys youth for the entire duration. The duration of one's stay in this Swarga is determined by the punya one has accumulated. The Gita points out that when one's punya runs out, then one is back to Martya Loka, the world of the mortals. Chapter 14 of the Garuda Purana describes Yamapuri, the city of Yama. It is 1000 yojanas in extent. So Yamapuri has a span of 12,000 to 15,000 kilometers. There is an entrance on each of the 4 sides. On one side of the city stands Chitragupta's mansion. The fort surrounding the city is made up of iron. There are 100 streets in Yamapuri, all decorated with banners and festoons. There is a group of people in Chitragupta's mansion who are engaged in calculating the lifespan of living beings, which takes into account the punya and papa of human beings. Chitragupta serves as the registrar or the chief accountant of the dead. Upon the death of a human and their arrival at Yamaloka, Chitragupta reads out their deeds, allowing the god of death Yama to decide whether they go to Swarga or Naraka depending on their actions on earth. To the south of Chitragupta's residence is situated Jwara Mandira, the abode of diseases. Adjacent to it are the abodes of all kinds of diseases. Yama's home is situated at a distance of 20 yojanas from the abode of Chitragupta. On one side of it, there is an extensive assembly hall. It is here that those who have led dharmic lives in the world find their abode after death. They lead a life of heavenly bliss. Naraka. There is a world called Pitraloka in the middle of the three worlds on their southern side, below the earth, above the Atala Loka. The Agnishwatas and other Pitras stay there in meditative trance for securing prosperity to those who come to Pitraloka. Yama is the ruler of Pitraloka. Since he is so scrupulous in imparting justice, Yama is also called Yamadharma. He administers justice with an even hand to all living beings brought there by his agents. He has the power to assess the punya and papa of people and to assign suitable punishments to them, but not to alter the laws or methods of punishment. The papis or sinners are sent to the different narakas by Yamadharma according to the nature and seriousness of their papas. The Puranas refer to 28 narakas. Please note that some graphic descriptions of suffering follow. Depending on the wrong actions we have committed, we get a glimpse of the price we are going to pay. Hearing about these gory descriptions also motivates us to move away from wrong actions and align ever more strongly to dharma. In a strange way, the fear of suffering is a greater motivator than the pursuit of happiness, which can only come through dharma. Viewer or listener discretion is advised. The 28 narakas are 1. Tamishram. Those who rob others of their wealth, wives, children, etc., are bound with ropes by Yama's servants and cast into this naraka, known as Tamishram. There they are given a sound beating until they faint. After they recover their senses, the beating is repeated, and those who try to escape are bound hand and foot and pushed again into this place. This is repeated as long as the bundle of karma is exhausted. 2. Andhatamatsram. This naraka is intended for the wife who takes food after deceiving the husband, or the husband who takes food after deceiving his wife. The punishment here is the same as that of Tamishram except the beating. But the excruciating pain suffered by the victims on being tied fast with Yama's rope by his servants makes them fall down senseless. 3. Rauravam. This is the naraka into which those who have persecuted other living beings are cast. Those who seize and enjoy another man's property or resources also come under persecution. When such people are thrown into this Rauravam, those whom they had persecuted or cheated while on earth assume the shape of Ruru, which is a kind of a dreadful serpent, which torments them severely. It is known as Rauravam because of the abundance of Ruru serpents. 4. Maharauravam. Here also there are Ruru serpents, only they are of a fiercer type. Those who deny the legitimate heirs their inheritance and possess and enjoy other people's property illegitimately are squeezed to death by these terrible serpents coiling around them. 5. Kumbhipakam. This is the naraka for the punishment of those who kill and eat birds and animals. Here, oil is kept boiled in huge vessels. Yama's servants plunge sinners into this oil. The period of their torture extends to as many years as there were hair on the bodies of the birds or animals which they killed and ate. 6. Kala Sutram. This Naraka is terribly hot. It is here that those who do not respect their father, mother, elders, etc. are cast. They rush about in the unbearable heat of this Naraka and drop down exhausted from time to time. 7. Asitapatram. This is the Naraka in which those papis who abandon Swadharma and one's duty and accept Paradharma, the other's duty, are flogged by Yama servants with whips made of Asipatra, sharp-edged, sword-shaped leaves. When they run about under the flogging, they trip over stones and thorns and fall on their faces. Then they are stabbed with knives made of Asipatra. They drop down unconscious, and when they recover their senses, the same process is repeated. 8. Sukaramukham. Kings who neglect their duties and oppress their subjects by misrule are punished in this Naraka. They are crushed to a pulp by beating until they fall down unconscious, and when they recover, they are again subjected to the same treatment. 9. Andhakupam. This is the Naraka for punishing those who oppress Brahmins, Devatas, and the poor. In this kupa or well, there are wild beasts like the tiger, bear, and carnivorous birds like the eagle, kite, venomous creatures like snakes and scorpions, and insects like bugs and mosquitoes. The papis or sinners have to endure the constant attacks of these creatures until the expiry of the period of their punishment. 10. Krimi Bhojanam. Food for worms. Depraved Brahmins who take their food without worshipping devatas and honoring guests are thrown into this Krimi Bhojanam, which is 1,00,000 yojanas in length. Worms, insects, and serpents sting them and eat them up. Once their bodies are completely eaten up by these creatures, they are provided with new bodies, which are also eaten up in the same manner. They have to continue there in this manner till the end of their term of punishment. 11. Taptamurti. Those who plunder or steal other people's gold, jewels, ornaments, or money are cast into the furnaces of this Naraka, which is built of iron, and always red hot with blazing fire. 12. Shalmali. This Naraka is intended for men and women who have committed adultery. A figure made of iron, heated red hot, is placed here. The victim is urged to embrace it. Yama's servants flog the victim from behind. 13. Vajrakanthakashali. This Naraka is for the punishment of those who have unnatural intercourse with cows and other animals. Here, the guilty people are made to embrace iron images full of diamond needles. 14. Vaitarani. This Naraka is for the kings who have violated all ordinances of Shastras and for adulterers. It is a most terrible place of punishment. Vaitarani is a river filled with human excreta, urine, blood, hair, bones, nails, flesh, fat, and all kinds of dirty substances. There are various kinds of ferocious beasts in it. Those who are cast into it are attacked and mauled by these creatures from all sides. The papis have to spend the term of their punishment feeding upon the contents of this river. Puyodakam. This is a well filled with excreta, urine, blood, phlegm, etc. Brahmins and others who have intercourse with women of low varna, against customs and ordinances, vagabonds who wander about irresponsibly like animals and birds, and other such papis are cast into this Naraka. 16. Pranarodham. This Naraka is for the punishment of Brahmins who keep dogs, asses, and other mean animals and constantly hunt and kill animals for food. Here, the servants of Yama gather around the sinners and cut them limb by limb with their arrows, and subject them to constant insult. 17. Vishasanam. This Naraka is for the torture of those who perform yajna by killing cows to display their wealth and splendor. They will have to remain there during the whole term of their punishment, under the constant flogging of Yama's servants. 18. Lala Bhaksham. This is the Naraka for lustful people. The lustful person who makes his wife swallow semen is cast into this Naraka. Lala Bhaksham is a sea of semen. The sinner lies in it, feeding upon semen alone. 19. Sarameyashanam. Those guilty of unsocial acts like inciting violence, burning property, poisoning with food, mass slaughter, ruining the country, etc. are cast into this Naraka. There, nothing but the flesh of dogs is available for food. There are 700 dogs in that Naraka, and all of them are as ferocious as leopards. They attack the sinners who come there from all sides and tear their flesh from their bodies with their teeth. 20. Avici. This Naraka is for those guilty of bearing false witness, false swearing, or assuming false names. They are hurled into Avici from a mountain which is 100 yojanas in height. The whole region of Avici is always shaken like an ocean with turbulent waves. As soon as the sinners fall into it, they are utterly smashed into dust. They are again restored to life, and the punishment is repeated. 21. Ayapanam. Those who belong to the first three Varnas, Brahmins, Kshatriyas and Vaishyas, who indulge in drinking alcohol, are bound and thrown into this Naraka. They are forced to drink melted iron in liquid form. 22. Kshara Kardamam. Braggarts and those who insult people of noble birth are cast into this place here. Yama's servants keep the sinners upside down and torture them in various ways. 23. Raksho Bhaksham. This Naraka is for the punishment of meat eaters. There are separate compartments in this Naraka for those who perform human sacrifice, eat human flesh, or the flesh of other creatures. All the living beings they had killed before would have arrived here in advance. They would all join together in attacking, biting, and mauling these people. Their shrieks and complaints would be of no avail there. 24. Shula Protam. People who take the lives of others who have done no harm to them by deceiving them or by treachery with weapons like the trident are thrown into this Naraka. Yama's servants fix each of these sinners on the top of a trident. They are forced to spend the whole term of their punishment in that position, suffering intense thirst and hunger, enduring all the tortures inflicted on them. 25. Dandashukam. Papis or sinners who persecute fellow creatures like venomous serpents are cast into this Naraka. There are many wild beasts and many hooded serpents here. They eat alive the papis who fall into this Naraka. 26. Vatarodham. This Naraka is for those who persecute creatures living on mountain peaks, dense forests, hollow trunks of trees, etc. It resembles mountains, caves, and forests. After throwing them into this Naraka, the sinners are tortured with fire, snake, poison, and weapons, just as they had tortured other creatures while on earth. 27. Paryavartanakam. One who denies food to a person who happens to come at mealtime and abuses him is thrown into this Naraka. The moment he falls into it, his eyes are pierced with the beaks of cruel birds like the crow and the eagle. It is a most painful experience for them. 28. Suchimukham. Proud and miserly people who refuse to spend money even for the bare necessities of life, find their place in this Naraka. Those who do not repay the money they have borrowed will also be cast into this Naraka here. Their bodies will be continually pricked and pierced with needles. So, these were the descriptions of Naraka from the Devi Bhagavatam, 8th Skandha, and the Vishnu Purana, Part 2, Chapter 6. If you have made it so far, well done. Hearing this might have brought you relief, perhaps, or sadness. Most importantly, now that one is aware and wants to definitely avoid suffering, we will think twice before doing the wrong thing. Besides dispensing justice, Yamaraja is also a teacher of self-knowledge. He taught Brahma Vidya to Nachiketa, a young boy, and blessed him with bones too. If you attain moksha, then of course you will have no rebirth. Although a devata, Yamaraja is rarely welcomed by anyone, shunned by everyone due to the fear of death. And yet, not only does he perform his responsibilities, but he is also a wise being. Namaha to Yamaraja, who teaches us the value of life at the relative level and at the absolute level.